Okay, so yesterday's video I told you that I made a mistake and the pipes froze. I told you that the ventilation inside the house comes down. I got a fan on the other side of that ventilation and it comes down into the tank. I forgot to turn that fan on. I also have another thing that I can do. I have a little 70-watt heater in there that I can turn on, but I have to run the generator to do that. So when the temperatures get really low, this year 7 degrees, but that's because I didn't turn the fan on. Typically I can get down into the negative temperatures, so -3, or I think I got down to -8 once before things freeze up. Now what's in here is a tank of water that holds 275 gallons of water. That tank has never froze solid. I mean, you'll get a layer of ice on it sometimes, but nothing serious. The thing is the water coming out of the well is 50 something odd degrees, 60 degrees, somewhere around there. So when I fill it, you're actually raising the temperature of the water each time I fill it. So that water is now a heater bank. It is just a big heater inside an insulated tank or a box here. And so it like I said, never freezes. The thing that freezes is the plumbing. So I have an RV hose that goes into the house into a on-demand water heater. It's a small camping heater. People always ask me what kind they're supposed to get. I don't know. The one you like, I mean, they're like $200. That one's a little bit underpowered. I wish I'd have gotten a more expensive one with higher BTUs, but it works. The one we had before was really nice. So what I do is I have a little pump. Now I call it an RV pump just for clarity, but what it actually is a garden tractor sprayer pump. It's 3 gallons a minute, and it's got adjustable pressure. I probably have it set at 25 psi. So that's a 12-volt pump, hooks to a battery inside the house. The battery is being charged constantly by a trickle charger that comes off the solar system. The battery's down there, you know, the inverter. The reason I don't charge this battery with those batteries down there is simply because it would have been a fortune in wiring. It was easier and cheaper to get a battery, a trickle charger, than it was to run all that wiring. That's why I did it. So like I said, the pump froze because well, yeah, the pump and the hose froze because I didn't turn that on. But every year we have froze, every year, and I can't figure it out. People will always tell me of a better solution. It is either the solution is way expensive and might work, or the solution just has a different problem. People have told me that the pump is a bad idea. I should put the tank on a tower and gravity feed it. Well, then I'm definitely going to have a problem with freezing because it's up in the air. I don't want to even get to ground heating. I set the tank on the ground because then you get some ground heating involved also. Others have told me to bury it. Well, then if you bury it, you still have the plumbing problem. The plumbing coming out of the ground into the house is going to freeze. Well, then you need to get electric tape. Well, if I get electric tape, then I got to run it off the solar panels, and when it kicks on at night, midnight, and it drains the batteries down, then I don't have any electric in the morning and I have frozen pipes. Either way, nothing's been solved. I just added more problems. I mean, I've heard it all. And the thing is this system seems to work for me. Typically, I have a freezing problem once a year. Once a year. I mean, it happens. I thought I was going to avoid it this year because I have that 70-watt heater that I can run off the generator. I had planned on just turning that on, but since I knew we weren't going to get that cold, I just didn't. But on the other hand, I forgot to turn that fan on. It was a mistake. What I have come to the conclusion, though, is I've actually designed my system to freeze. This is convenient. This, we can turn on the faucet, you know, the water heater in there, we have hot water. It's convenient. But it's not the end of the world because my well is the system. That is not the system. That is convenient. The well is what is the system. Everybody looks at the tank as the primary system and the well as the backup system. But I designed it where this is the primary system, and that is just a convenient system. It's not even a backup system. This has all the backups in it that you need. So, and I explained this in yesterday's video, and it just baffles me how people just get so aggravated with what I have. I could take that out, that tank out, and still have water. I really can. I can actually run a hose from here into the water heater and still have hot water. I said that in yesterday's video. But no, that's not the way you're supposed to do it. So this can't fail. I mean, the well pump could go bad or something, but as far as freezing, it can't fail. There's no water in this pipe. 70 feet down, 75 feet down, I've drilled a hole about the size of my pinky. So every time I shut the well off, the well pump off, water drains back down into the well. The pipe is empty. There's no water 75 feet down. So that actually serves me 3 problems. One, there's no chance of it freezing. The other thing is sometimes I'll shut the spigot off here. There's usually a spigot here. And I'll forget to shut the well pump off. So I shut that off and there's no water coming out, but the well pump is still running. Well, that can damage your pump. So if you shut that off, and you're not going to burn your pump up. You burn your pump up because the water inside the pump cavitates, creates steam, and it'll heat up and you'll freeze it. So if I have that hole down there, there's always water going through it, through the pump. The other issue I have, and you guys know this one, is the pump is way too fast for the recovery rate of the well. So with that hole in there, it slows down the amount of water coming out of the hose, the pipe. The pipe is 15 gallons a minute. By putting that hole in there, it may be 13 or 12 or 10 gallons per minute. It's still, the recovery rate is still too slow, but it gives me a little bit of time where I can not worry about walking away from it for a second and running out of water. So this is the system right here. Forget about that. So yesterday it froze. Day before yesterday, let's see. Yeah, not last night, but the night before last it froze. And I made a video about it, and of course everybody's, oh no, you need to do it, just like every year. And every year I say when I make a video, I don't need to do that, it's fine. So today, I get up, it's above freezing today. I turn that little heater on. It's sunny, so I don't need to run the generator. At night I would have to run the generator, but during the day I don't have to. I filled the tank up with water to heat the water up a little bit. And I waited 2 hours. And after 2 hours, we have running water again. I mean, it just wasn't a big deal. Yesterday we didn't have running water, so I brought 2 buckets of water in. I filled a pot, a canner, pressure canner up with water. I set that on the stove, and it stayed hot all day. So if we needed to, shave or brush our teeth, we had hot water. We made coffee. We weren't without water at all. So the only thing we didn't have was a shower. But, we only take a shower every 2 days anyway, so it was no big deal. We always take a shower just in case something happens and it freezes. So before it gets really cold, we take a shower. So we already had our shower from the day before. So, I mean, we were not discomfort at all. And the thing is, we'll have water tomorrow when it's ready, or tonight when we're ready for a shower. So everything's fine. I don't get it. Spend $1 million because here's the thing. People come to my channel and they want to live off grid, I assume, or they dream about living off grid, or they dream that they wish they could have lived off grid, whatever the case is. But then when you get here, then all of a sudden you want me to comply with the way people live in the city. Oh, you need heat tape. Well, I got to have electric. Oh, you need to do this. You need to spend money. You need to throw money in. I came here so I didn't have to spend money. My solution is free. The pump did not break this year. It's a $20 pump. If it breaks because it freezes, it's no big deal. But it does have some flexibility, so it can freeze a little bit. And, you know, it doesn't just end my day. And I always have a backup pump. I always keep one on the shelf, just as a backup. And the thing is the pumps tend to wear out after time anyways. So replace, you know, a $20 part per year just to maintain your life. I don't see that as a big deal. Considering everything I'm saving in electric costs, everything, I save so much money that, oh no, you can't spend that $20, but you want me to spend $500 to fix the problem, or be on city water. You're spending, you know, 20 bucks at least for water every month. And for what? So you can have the convenience of your pipes not freezing? Yet, last time I was at Mom's house, her pipe, the city pipes froze. The thing is I know a lot of people live in mobile homes. All of them down here, people live in mobile homes. And every year, people are complaining their pipes are froze up. So they have heat tape on their pipes. They lose electric. It freezes. It snows. And they're without water also. So no electric, no water. They have nothing. At least I have water and electric. I don't know. To me, it's just part of the life. It is part of living off grid. Here's what I find ironic is people will watch a video of me splitting wood, sweating in the middle of summer, and they see that as some sort of romantic video. Not like, you know, weird, but like, you know, they visualize living off grid, and I've tamed the wild. I cut the tree down and I'm splitting it by hand with a maul, and that's how you're supposed to live off grid. And you see me carrying wood in from the cold. You see Carolyn splitting it into little bitty sticks. You see all this work going into heating our little tiny house. But then when I spend 10 minutes coming out to put a heater into the water or changing out a pump, and I've spent 20 bucks, zero to 20 bucks, oh my gosh, that is insanity. Well, what it is cognitive dissonance. I've talked about this a lot. You have this vision of how it's supposed to work. You have this vision how off-grid living is supposed to work. And when I come in and say, okay, this is how it actually works, it's no big deal. It's not a big deal at all. As a matter of fact, I'm in better shape than most people on the planet. When my pipes freeze, I still got water. When your pipes freeze, you don't have anything. You're going to town to get water, you know, out of bottles. And typically, it's snowing, so you don't even go. So you're just without water. I still have water. So you imagine that I should always have water. Convenient water comes in out of the tap. You turn it on and magic, there's water. But when it comes to heating, you spend, you know, tons of dollars on heating. I guess maybe it's the money difference. Maybe that's why you have cognitive dissonance. The heating is expensive in your book, I guess. So you see chopping up wood and bringing it in a house. Okay, well, I can sacrifice a little bit of effort to bring in firewood to save myself a few $100s a year on heating costs. Well, the same thing goes with water. I mean, I know 20 bucks is nothing to everybody. I hear it all the time. It's only $20. Okay, so, you know, what are we, $240 per year for water if you're spending 20 bucks for water? I don't know how much you spend. I know when I was buying water, it was more like 60 bucks a month. So, you know, I'm saving a ton. And for what? For one day out of the year that I have a freezing problem. And I say problem because there's just no other word. When the hose freezes, I spend one day fixing it. One day. And it's not really fixing. I just turn on a heater. And, you know, I've lucked out every year. It's always been sunny the next day, so I can just run that heater or whatever I'm going to run off solar panels. I don't even have to run a generator. So, well, I'm not going to convince you. You seem to think that if you're going to live off grid, you're going to make it 1,000 times better than me. And I'm telling you, this is an amazing system I have. It works great. It just works. It just works all the time, but not good enough for you. So if you'll click this up next box, take the video over to my other channel. Really appreciate it. Go check it out. So I hope I can inspire you. I don't know. Spend your thousands so you can have a $5 problem fixed, I guess. So thanks for watching.